taking in the history.
Hello and welcome once again to another episode of Bill Has Opinions. I am Laura Lavoie and I am here with, it's our Can't Miss Bill Shit. Forgot that part. Can't Miss Bill Shit. I am Laura Lavoie and I'm here with Bill Perkins.
Hi.
Who has opinions?
Yeah, and some Can't Miss Bill shit.
Yeah, definitely the Can't Miss Bill Shit.
I brought it. Yeah.
You always do. So welcome. What have you been up to?
Well, let's see. I just brought this up. I did wreck my Miata this week. That was a good time.
If you don't want to broadcast it all on the air, then we can talk about it more later. But
no, that's about all I'm going to say about it on the air.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that happened to you.
Yeah, well, in the scheme of things, it wasn't like the worst thing that ever happened to a person. So, I was talking about switching cars anyway. So I guess the decision is made for me.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it's like the universe heard me and was like, okay, well, here's how this is going to go down. So that happened, and then let's see. This week we've had wildfires here, right?
Yeah,
Which I'm going to talk about, I guess. So I don't need to bring that up because we'll talk about it.
We will.
That's about all that's really been going on in my life. How about you? What's up?
Nothing super exciting. We went downtown this weekend for Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, did you get some Paxkis or whatever?
Punchkis?
Punchkis, that's right.
No, I did not. We did not get Punchkis. The place that we got Punchkis from last year closed down amidst a sex abuse scandal.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna feel bad for him, but now I don't.
Now I don't. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say, oh shit, because I assumed you were gonna say because of the hurricane and tourism and all that shit. But,
no, turns out people were arrested.
Bad people. Okay.
Yes. So we did not get backup punchkis, but I had a couple of crawfish because it was really more it was the Mardi Gras parade, so it was very New Orleans centered. And in all the years that we've lived in Nashville, I've never been to the Mardi Gras parade. So it was
How
fun.
was it?
It was fun.
It's good.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
I've never been either. No.
We wore hats.
You wore hats?
We wore hats.
Did you get beads?
I did get beads. Yes.
Well, yeah.
So it was good times.
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I would do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, we took the bus downtown for $1. And why wouldn't you?
The bus.
Yeah, we got on the bus. It cost $1. It comes basically to our street.
Is it the first time you ever rode the bus?
No, we ride the bus all the time to the Grove Park Inn.
Oh, okay.
Because the parking is expensive up there.
Yeah. I've always joked with Emily that one of these days I was going to come uptown. I was going to play hooky, come uptown like during a weekday, like just calling sick, and come uptown, and I was going to ride the little trolley bus, the gray line.
Oh, right. Yeah, like the hop on, hop off.
Yeah, that.
Tourist bus.
And tool around town.
Yeah.
And do some touristy shit.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
I still should. Yeah.
We've done it in other cities. We did.
Cities you lived in?
No.
Oh.
We did it in Savannah, although we've been to Savannah a bajillion times.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about like, you ever play tourist in your hometown? Like
no, not like that. I mean, we've done the La Zoom bus.
Right.
That's comedy. And but we did do it, and we've been to Savannah a million times. We don't need to ride it. But we were there with a friend who had injured her leg, so she couldn't walk around.
Sure, yeah.
So we got the hop on, hop off bus pass. So every time we were on, we got the little tourist bus, but then we could just get off where we needed to go and she didn't have to walk.
Right.
And then the next time we were there, Matt had injured his foot.
Oh.
So we did the same thing.
I got you. Okay. Well, I've not done that, but like I said, it's something I've thought about doing a lot, and one of these days I will do it. I'll just call in sick one day and say, hey, drop everything. We're going to Asheville. We're playing hooky all day, and we're acting like we're tourists, and we're just going to do touristy shit.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just really briefly get into this. So what do you got there?
Well, right now I'm drinking a Hofbrau München, the Hefeweizen, which is pretty good. And then when I get done with that, I'm drinking this one, which is a non-alcoholic, which I had one before the show too. It's Best Day Brewing Kolsch out of Northern California, they say, which that's not very specific because that's
not Northern California is a big place. But yeah, we've had this brand of non-alcoholic, and it's really good.
It is really quite good, and they're the only people I know of that are doing something. Most non-alcoholics are like focusing on IPAs, I feel like, and they're doing some other stuff. They have this, and they've got a lime, like a Mexican lager with a hint of lime kind of thing. It's also pretty good. Those are the two I've had that I like. Where the hell? Sausalito.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to be near Sausalito in a couple of weeks. So.
Remember that song that used to come on the radio when we were like young kids about Sausalito?
No.
Guys, something about this guy's car breaking down in Sausalito or some shit. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, you know if you heard it.
I probably
would. In a little while. Like after the show, we're gonna hear it.
All right. I've got a Bell's Perfect Day, or not Perfect Day. Whatever their session is. I don't know. Oh, it's lighthearted.
Lighthearted. Okay.
I got that right now, and then I've got the Highland Session Vacation because, as you know, I like to drink low alcohol beer flavored beers.
Yeah,
which include IPAs.
This one's low alcohol.
It's so low,
almost none.
It has.
I'm sure it has like a 0.05 or something. Usually
there's
a
tolerance
0.5% or something. But but essentially, I'm just trying to like. I'm trying to get my tolerance down, is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to. I've gotten to the point where sometimes every so many months you get in a cycle of where like you can't just have you can't get a 2 beer buzz anymore. You know what I mean? And if I have to drink 4 beers to get a 2 beer buzz, I go, I need to bring that. Like I need to work on that, right?
Right.
So
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right. So, why don't we get into sort of the meat of the show?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start out with the fires. That's local news.
It is local news, but it's related.
Yeah,
I think in a way.
Yes.
To national news articles. Yeah. So there's we have a. Outside of my town right now, there's currently a 750-acre blaze. They actually have it as of today. I talked to Emily right before I left, and she's been talking to people. Apparently, it's like 63% contained. Mm-hmm. So probably it'll either be out tomorrow or they'll keep it contained until it's supposed to rain around Wednesday, I think.
Right.
And then, of course, it'll be out. But it was kind of scary, Saturday because the wind was blowing like hell on Saturday. And here's the thing about this area right now, because of the hurricanes back in the fall, it's a tinderbox. We've got all this dead wood laying around from trees that fell, and then we haven't had any significant rain in about a month. And then the wind's blowing and all these things together, there was a burn ban in place. Actually, this fire was started by a failed power line.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like somebody was being careless,
right?
And burning brush or anything like that. It was totally a case of sometimes shit happens, and this was the shit that happened. But anyway, that one's mostly under control. But I understand there's several others in the area and also in the greater. All over North Carolina and all over South Carolina, they're having fires right now.
The craziest. Well, we've got one not far from us, and I was really a little panicked about it a couple nights ago, because it's a Candler, which is basically one town over.
Yeah,
and I was pretty worried.
West Asheville.
Yeah, it's West.
For those who don't know,
and I was pretty worried about it. I was struggling to sleep, but a lot of that's like that leftover hurricane trauma, right? and the wind was so windy, like I could hear the wind of
the wind was
of
like
the house. Yeah,
the other night. Yeah, it was crazy,
blowing everything, the siding, and like it just. I was like, oh my god, we're going to burn to death. We're going to die. But a lot of that is leftover anxiety, trauma from this. But the craziest one to me is the one that's near Myrtle Beach.
Yeah,
like that's crazy. That
that one's a huge. But again, they got the same. Well, they didn't have the hurricane, so they can't blame any of it on that.
Right.
But it has been dry as hell for the last month. Like say they basically get the rain we get,
right?
About 2 days after we get it,
right?
And we haven't really got any to speak of since January. I really feel like, right? Like it hasn't really.
In fact, most of what we've had has been like. We've had some snow and some freezing rain, which obviously acts a little differently. That's what we've had a couple of times,
right?
But not any real rain.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a factor. So unpleasant. But as you mentioned, it's not unrelated to national politics because the current administration is cutting so many different.
Yeah. Forestry jobs and federal firefighters who I guess are part of the forestry service. But my gosh, like it's like a perfect storm of shit show. It's almost becoming its own allegory, right? Like the whole fucking place is gonna be on fire, and this is what you get. Kind of, you fucked around and found out. So,
right, which we're gonna cover in a little more detail. A little later on the show, but the fucking around and finding out stage is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and we're still finding out everything, but
exactly.
but there'll be a lot more to find out, I imagine. So that's crazy stuff that's going on. The funny thing to me is, so I don't know if you noticed this, but I noticed this for ages, and I've even got I got a coworker who's from California, right? He just moved to Nevada, but he. Back when the hurricane happened, I was talking to him about it. And he was like, does this happen a lot where you live? And I was like, well, no, but with increasing frequency.
Right.
And he's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, hopefully it'll stop happening soon. And I'm like, well, I don't realistically see that happening. And I kind of got like in between the lines, I understand like, okay, this guy's he leans a little conservative, obviously. Because I was trying to explain to him, I was like, well, it's kind of like, the wildfires out in California. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, those are caused by mismanagement of land or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you've told me everything I need to know. Thank you.
Exactly.
I'll stop ever addressing this issue with you.
Exactly.
But that is the party line on California's wildfires for the last 10 years. It's mismanagement of resources or something. And that's the reason they have fires, is because they don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. Those Democrats don't know how to manage land or whatever. Okay, well, here's a couple of red states that are fucking all over on fire. What's going on here?
Exactly.
Is it mismanagement, or is it that conditions are ripe for this sort of thing right now? And will probably remain that way.
Exactly. Well, right. And like, for example, I mean, forest fires, fires of that degree, wildfires they do happen, and sometimes they happen naturally and sometimes they don't. I mean, sometimes it's some asshole's fire got out of control, but there's lots of reasons a fire can happen. With a hurricane, we did not invite it. We're like, come on in, hurricane.
Yeah,
it's great.
That wasn't, well, I mean, it's not like, I get what you're saying. It's not like somebody's out in the backyard having a leaf burn and it gets out of hand, then you get a wildfire. Hurricane, it's nothing we did right now that caused a hurricane.
Right? Exactly.
But we did cause it. But we did. To be fair, we did cause it over the last 30 or 40 years of fucking around and going, we'll worry about this global warming thing, sometime later.
Right, but it wasn't mismanagement of our river system.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. Like the rivers flood. Rivers have been flooding the banks and moving around since the beginning of fucking time. It's only since we started building towns along them that we decided that they should stay in one spot.
Right, exactly. Yeah, did you know that our French Broad River is one of the oldest rivers in the world? Like it's.
I mean, well, it doesn't surprise me because our mountains are the oldest mountains in the world, right?
Right.
So yeah.
So
that tracks.
There's plenty of geological evidence that shows that our river is one of the very oldest in the whole world. Which I thought at first I was like, seems wrong, but then I looked into it. I'm like, oh yeah, sure is.
Yeah,
sure is.
I mean, like I said, that tracks with the whole mountains thing. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I love our mountains is because they're old.
Yeah.
They're old and wise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's cool because we have the same mountains that they have in Scotland and Norway.
In Ireland. Yeah. It goes all the way up from you can follow it basically from the United States over to Ireland, Scotland, and up into Norway. So it's really cool. It's actually really neat.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea that you can, and they've actually, I think in the last year or two, renamed the trails over in Scandinavia to say this is the eastern side of the Appalachian Trail.
That's awesome.
So you can pick it up, you walk all the way to Nova Scotia, and then you cross the pond and then pick up your hike.
That's really cool.
When you get over that way,
That's really cool. Yeah. No, I mean, when we were in Ireland in 2005, we had been here to Asheville once, and we'd driven the Blue Ridge Parkway and whatever. And when we were in the Wicklow Mountains, which is part of this mountain chain, I was like, holy crap, reverse it. Then we started coming to here. And we were driving through the mountains, and I was like, this reminds me of the Wicklow Mountains in Ireland.
There's a reason it reminded me.
As it turns out, there's a reason for that.
Right.
But we do, our other headline, I think it would be stupid for us not to mention this because holy shit. Ukraine.
Yeah.
I don't even have the words to talk about it. I don't think.
I don't really know.
It's just a flurry of expletives.
It was the biggest fucking shit show. I want to give it up to Zelensky for being as calm and collected. Goddamn, way to not take the fucking bait. Because I'm bad at this. I'm the kind of person where I get into a meeting like that, and if people start attacking me, I'm going to get flustered and take their bait and do all the things. But this guy, he was so cool and collected, and he just answered the questions and remained calm, and was just a class act.
Yeah,
the whole way through. And then I love this though. I love that but he didn't let him walk all over him.
Yeah,
in spite of being not letting his blood pressure go up over it. I mean, I suppose he's been putting up with worse shit than this for the last couple of years. So it's
this
honestly,
nothing.
You goofs are the least of my fucking worries.
but Trump and Vance, I want to know from Trump supporters, not that you watch this show, but if you happen to, what the fuck?
How do you justify this?
Yeah, how do you justify any of this? That was embarrassing.
But the thing I loved also was the very next day he goes to the UK.
Yeah.
And then they're basically like, we got your back.
Yeah.
They can fuck off. Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
And also they were just in the UK talking to the Prime Minister of UK and basically put their foot in their mouth and said some dumb shit in front of him. And he called him out on it too. He was like, no. Cause they were trying to tell him how free speech was going to work in the UK. And he's like, no. That's not at all how it's going to work.
Right. Exactly.
And so then now I'm curious to see how long this our special relationship will last, but
oh my God, no, it was just embarrassing. And think about how classy he was and how unflustered he got, communicating not even in his first language, right? He's hearing this incredibly articulate orange.
I mean, he's having to listen to a bunch of dumbasses.
Yes.
Tell him how to run his shit and why he's doing it wrong. I mean, my God, to be able to hold your tongue for that.
Did you see the thing? What's his name? Pete Pete, whatever. The guy, the one guy.
Yeah.
Who used to be a Fox News anchor, or Fox News reporter, or whatever the fuck they are, Fox News entertainer. But he was like, well, we just don't know who started the war in the Ukraine, but there was actual evidence from when he was on Fox News that's like Russia's invasion in Ukraine.
Right.
Like, hey, is that you?
Yeah.
That's you saying
right.
that, like 3 years ago or 2 years ago,
Yeah.
whatever this was. Like, that's insanity. It's insanity.
The whole, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is fucking ridiculous. And that we have to sit and watch it and put up with it is also ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? Oh my God. So our local senator, Tom Tillis, sent me an email last week about how he visited Ukraine and he was appalled at the conditions and blah, blah, blah. And he couldn't believe the things Putin was doing and yak. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, you're going to grow a fucking spine and say something about it?
Exactly.
Like, why are you telling me? Go tell your fucking boss.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's the other thing going on right now. Like, our senators, our Congress people, well, specifically congressmen in our case, because
right,
red state, but like they're not even holding town halls. Like Chuck Edwards, who's our actual district,
because he knows what he's going to hear.
Well, right,
he's got nothing but the party line, and that guy, I'll swear, because I send him emails all the time, and everything you get back from him, is always, well, I understand your concerns, but here's the party line.
And it's just an auto response.
Yeah, kind of.
Or
it is. Like, I mean, he seems to understand what I wrote to him about and what I'm pissed off about. And then he goes, I get it.
Or his aides are, because they have they have a script.
And then, but then here's the party line.
Yeah.
Here's what Trump tells me to tell you.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, yeah. So you're about as useless as tits on a bull, aren't you?
Same with Tom Tillis. Like, people have been writing to him about this horrifying presser in the Oval Office. Like, that's a harder one to justify. Like, how do you? I don't know how you do it. Like, what are you saying? Like, what are you supposed to say? No, whatever the fuck is happening right now. Well, we'll get to that in a second, because it's been a long month and a half is what I'm saying. It's not even March.
Yeah.
And this shit keeps happening.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So why don't we
Mm-hmm.
real quick, since the world is insane, why don't you buy some of our merch?
Yeah,
you were going to give me some new merch
I know
ideas.
I was, and then my week got out of control.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So yeah, I'll have some new merch. Well, I'll pitch you some things this week, hopefully, and we'll hopefully have some new shit to show you for next week. But right now, in the meantime, we still have this shitty merchandise.
Literally shitty merchandise. So stay shitty with our
shitty merchandise.
But you can also get t-shirts. You can also get t-shirts of our Stay Shitty merchandise. So there's lots of options. Just saying.
Sure, you can get this particular slogan on whatever kind of. If there's a thing we don't offer it on yet, holler.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to stay shitty oven mitt? Yeah, why not? It seems crazy, but we'll make it happen.
I am pretty sure you can get a Stay Shitty onesie for your baby. Like, I'm pretty.
Oh, that actually does make sense.
Well,
babies do be staying shitty.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So anyway, so why don't we? Because we'll get to this here, the bill shit. Because I think we want to dive more into this fucking around and finding out situation. So let's do that.
Okay. And this is still mildly related to the headline.
Oh yeah, for sure,
course,
absolutely.
But the other fuck around find out thing that's going on this week is we got like a huge case of fucking measles.
Oh my god,
that's blowing out down in Texas, and it's spreading to other places, I guess. But right at the time we decide to
basically not quite criminalize, but make vaccines problematic, more problematic than they should be.
I don't understand that. That's just one of the dumbest fucking. And I have this argument with people all the time on the internet. Is I'm like, you guys have managed to fucking politicize several arguments that shouldn't be politicized at all. Like, I mean, honest to God, you can go outside. you got some of these motherfuckers, you be like, sky's blue, and they're like, it's not blue, and anybody who thinks it is blue is a fucking cuck or whatever, and they just want to fucking argue about it. And it's the same shit with the goddamn like the vaccines thing shouldn't be a goddamn blue versus red argument. Honestly, it's like it should be a handful of dumb yokels think that vaccines are stupid and cause autism, and everybody else goes, ha ha ha, you guys are idiots. That's the way it should be. But for some reason they decided that's the side they're going to fall on. It's like we're it's almost like they're just being contrarian to be contrarian sometimes.
For sure. Yeah, so the anti-vax people started out as like granola left-wing homeschoolers, right?
Exactly.
Like my baby shouldn't have any of these vaccines because they have heavy metals and blah blah blah. And the actual research has proven, there is legit research that vaccines do not cause autism. And frankly, autism has been around for a long time, and that's just insulting. Lots of people have been autistic. We just didn't have the language for it.
Right. So there's that misconception that there's more autism than there ever was. It's just now we know how to diagnose it. And say, here's a thing. This is why you are the way you are. Whereas it used to be people were just fucking weird or
institutionalized,
whatever the fuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just
murdered.
Yeah, exactly. But it turns out there's like a clinical reason people are acting the way they are, and they have always been that clinical reason. We just didn't know how to point to it and go, that's a thing that somebody's got, so there's not any more cases of it, except for in the sense that Trump believes where if you test for something, then you wind up with more of it, right?
Exactly. But then mostly aligning with COVID, all of a sudden the anti-vax became a Republican issue because, and this was basically because we had this pandemic, and all of a sudden people were like, you can't tell me what to do, so I'm not going to wear a mask and I'm not going to get vaccinated. So all of a sudden a complete shift where what used to be a handful of granola hippies that did not want to do vaccines suddenly became the entirety of the Republican Party, or at least MAGAs. So it got weird.
Yeah.
It got super weird. And then to make it even weirder, RFK Jr., who is literally a crackpot.
Yeah.
Might be clinically crazy. At least he used to be a heroin addict, whatever. He did not run as a Republican. If anything, he was more Democratic leaning, but he ran as a independent. And I mean, his family is one of the biggest Democratic institutions in American history. But he ran as an independent, and he sold himself to the highest bidder. He offered to Biden before he took the deal with Trump.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. He offered that I will drop out if you give me these things. But Trump took him up on it. And so hooray, he gets to be in charge of a major part of the U.S. government now. Yeah. Which is to tell me, basically to tell me I can't have any more shots. Speaking of, I'm going to go get my second shingle shot this week before it's outlawed. Yeah. When vaccines are outlawed, only outlaws will have them. Exactly. I'll be going. When vaccines are outlawed, I'll be going to Canada or Mexico to get my vaccines because I'll still be getting vaccinated for whatever the fuck. I won't care. Listen, I had a flu shot this year, and everybody around me's got the flu right now. And I ain't got no damn flu, and I'll tell you why, because I had a fucking vaccine. Right. Right. And the shit works. If anybody thinks it doesn't work, I mean, sometimes it works a little less. But listen, even if I got the flu, I'd get less flu than the person who got the flu, Correct. Yeah. A few years ago, before COVID, I got a really bad case of the flu, and I had been vaccinated. And I went to the doctor, and she was like, well, imagine how bad it would be if you didn't get vaccinated. I'm like, thanks, doc. Yeah. I mean, same thing with the COVID. Like, did the COVID shot keep me from getting 100% of the COVID? No. But when I got COVID, it was like a weekend of like, I feel a little icky. Right. I never was like in the hospital coughing myself to death, choking on my own fucking phlegm. Right. So, Yeah, no, exactly. Well, and right, Jay. So one of the fuck around and find out things that we're doing right now is usually around this time of year,
they
determine which flu strains they believe will be the biggest threats in the upcoming flu season.
Right, sure.
And they base the shot around that. But they're not allowed to do that right now.
Right,
so we don't have that option.
So next year there'll be no flu shot.
There will be no flu shot.
In this coming fall,
yes, if the trajectory continues, there will be no flu shot. Or if you can even still legally get flu shots, it might be last year's formula, which may or may not be useful in any way.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We'll find
the
out.
thing I can't figure out is as much influence as fucking big pharma has in government, how they're allowing all this nonsense to happen. It seems to me that they would put the kibosh, but they would put their foot down and go, hey, listen, man.
We're pulling all of our money. Yeah. All of it. I mean, frankly, on one hand, that's not a bad thing. You know, the Citizens United ruling is probably what actually caused the downfall of our democracy.
100%, yes.
But at the same time, right now, like, we're looking for the pharmaceutical companies to save.
I'm looking for a lot of companies to step in and go, hey, this is nonsense and it's bad for fucking business. Like, I don't understand why more fucking corporations aren't going, hey, you know what? This is bad for business. People being out of work is bad for us because we need consumers to sell shit to.
Exactly.
We need people to want shots because we sell shots. That's what our job is.
Exactly.
You know, we need, I don't know, there's a plethora of these kinds of things, but, you know, it's just, I can't imagine. I mean, I know there were like fucking some open letters from business types before the election that were like, yeah, no, like, this way is going to be better for us and that way won't be. But I guess, again, we're going to fuck around and find out. So we'll see. We'll see how destitute the fucking economy becomes over this nonsense, I suppose.
Yes. And I have seen a handful of people who were Trump voters starting to be like, oh, shit, it's affecting me right now. But certainly not enough of them.
No. And some of them even still, it's like, you know, as long as you people are worked up in lather, I don't really give a shit. You know, like, and I know that's ultimately what they wanted, was just like, if my enemies are sore about it, then whatever happens to me is fine.
Right. I still win somehow. Right. So,
yes, like, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's funny because, you know, because I have a middle class job where I make good money, and all I'm going to do is be sad for other people who are bad off. Whereas you dumb shits are actually going to be like, oh, my farm got taken by the bank, or right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The farmers got hit almost immediately, and a lot of them didn't. They were like, oh, we voted for you, and now, oh no, what's happened? But we still support you. Yeah, but how long will that last? Like,
I mean, and yeah, exactly. When the bank comes to say, okay, well, this is our land now.
Yeah.
It was done wrong.
I was hoping the current Republican Party would cannibalize itself much sooner. Like, because that's often happens.
Yes,
right?
Same. Yes, but I also have been like, it's actually taken longer than I thought it would. I really felt like two things. In the history of Trump, he's typically not kept friends for very long.
Correct.
Before they became enemies.
Yeah.
And two, also, I noticed with especially with racists, with white nationalists, they tend to turn on each other. You know, it doesn't take much for them to have infighting, and I kind of felt like both of those kinds of things would have happened by now and started to spiral out of control. Maybe they still will, and we're just having to wait longer than we thought.
Well, and right now it's kind of like we were talking earlier about like how time stands still when you're high. Right now, our government makes us feel like that, right? It's only just now, the beginning of March. He was only inaugurated on the 20th of January.
Yeah.
And we're feeling like...
We feel like it's been 6 months. Yeah. But it's been a month, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. It's been just a little over a month. And we're like, why hasn't anything happened yet? But, so, I mean, there is time. I'm just hopeful that the people who need to just
Yeah.
Like, get their heads out of their asses. We'll do it sooner than later. Because otherwise, every single human being in this nation, except for the billionaires, is going to be paying for what's happening.
Sure.
And that includes an awful lot of MAGA voters. So,
oh yeah, well they'll be hit before I will, I feel like. Ultimately, you know, like it's gonna start from the bottom up, and there's a lot more of them on the bottom.
And things like Social Security, things like
that, exactly,
employment, things like
I'm just waiting for my mom and my aunt to be like whining to my ass about, oh, they took away my Social Security and my Medicaid and all that. Oh, I'm sorry, did they? Oh, boo hoo hoo. I mean, it's not that I don't care, but you voted for it, so I can only care so much, right? Like I care more about the people who didn't vote for it that are getting hit with this shit.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Exactly. All right. Well, we do have a pizza to go eat. So why don't you take us away?
Okie dokie then. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, unless Laura agreed with him, or vice versa. We didn't have any disagreements tonight. Let's see what else. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. #OpinionGang and/or Can't Miss Bill Shit. For questions, comments, concerns, ideas for future shows, things you want us to talk about, whatever the fuck. Be sure to buy our shitty merchandise and catch us next week when we'll have another exciting show about the same kind of shitty stuff.
Yeah, basically. Now we just become ranting, although frankly that still applies to the premise of the show. So yeah, I'm okay with that.
It's not that. It was never not that.
That's true. That's true. All right, folks, we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.